Brandon Aiyuk.
It's your guy.
Monty, unless you have a breaking news update, there's still no official news, no traction or anything, right?
Nothing. The latest is that his agent was at Raiders camp, and the NFL Network tried to talk to his agent, and the agent's like, no comment, nothing. All I'm going to say is don't believe everything you read on Twitter.
Well, I'm going to let you guys decide.
You make the call.
There's two angles to this. And you know what? I think I'll make the decision. I think I want to go timeline first. Because you might say, how do we even end up here? Right? How do we end up in this situation where Brandon Aiyuk is bro-hugging John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan on the field? He's not playing, not practicing. Meanwhile, it's very clear he wants out, but he's palling around with his teammates. But then Christian McCaffrey referred to him as my ex-teammate, Brandon Aiyuk. So is it like official but not official? Let's go back to 2022, 2 football seasons ago. A.J. Brown was on the Titans. A.J. Brown was offered $18 million, and he's like, nah, not enough. Receivers are the most important position besides quarterbacks now. And A.J. Brown, as you remember, ended up in Philadelphia. Got over 20. Tyreek Hill, that year, signed a 4-year, $120 million contract. Then, your boy, Devontae Adams, Danny G, signed a $140 million deal. You saw on receiver, these guys, Justin Jefferson, they're getting the biggest deals ever.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to last year within the 49ers organization. Brandon Aiyuk, while he's seeing his value grow, he witnessed Debo do the whole unfollow the 49ers on social media.
That seems to be the blueprint.
Playing reindeer games, shenanigans. And it was like, man, Debo looks like he's out. Fast forward, the 49ers figure a way to get that Debo deal done. 3 years, over $70 million. And then he watched Bosa play those same games at the beginning of last year on the defensive side of the ball. And they gave Bosa 5 years, $170. So Ayuk's thinking, well, you know what? I'm just next guy up in this team of superstars. But the 49ers have made it very clear that the money we're offering you is it. They're not looking at Debo as a Justin Jefferson, as an Amon-Ra St. Brown, as a CD Lamb. They're not looking at him as a Devontae Adams. I think Brandon Aiyuk is one level below those guys, and I'm a Niners fan who watches every week in and week out.
Okay. My first thought is you say Aiyuk, and you really lean into it. And there's a lot of people say Aiyuk.
Yeah, they're saying it wrong.
Yeah, and I've noticed that a lot of people just roll with what they feel comfortable with nowadays. Madrimov. What is it? Aiyuk. People don't care anymore. It's really noticeable, especially with this name, because it's in the news a lot lately.
It all started with John Miller on Sunday Night Baseball when he would say Carlos Beltran. And I was like,
wait, that was John Miller? I thought that was Ben Franklin.
No, wait, it might have been Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin with Joe Morgan. I remember.
But they would always say Beltran. And I'm like, you mean Carlos Beltran?
It's the name that Monty always says that we say wrong.
Oh.
Cardinals?
No. It's someone's name. But aside from that, I call this the Tyreek Hill theory. I think the Chiefs proved that even a superstar like him isn't going to be the difference maker here when you got a solid squad behind you. They won without him. And I think that's what your team is rolling with. Like, yeah, he's not bigger than the team here. We've played without him before and we're successful. I think we'll be just fine. He's not the difference maker. If Tyreek Hill wasn't the difference maker with the Chiefs, Aiyuk isn't the difference maker with your 49ers.
Aiyuk led the team in receptions last year.
Tyreek Hill is one of the greatest athletes, voted top 5. He was number 1, right?
Yeah.
Number 1 by all the NFL players. And guess what? The Chiefs said, yeah, we'll still win without you. And they did. Wouldn't you say that's a big nanny poof to Ayuk's case here?
You say poof?
I did.
Aiyuk had 105 receptions, 1,342 yards. Now, if you look at the other 49er weapons, Christian McCaffrey just dominated that team between rushing yards and receiving yards. Kittle, over 1,000 yards, 90 receptions. Debo.
That's all right. You know what there's a lot of other weapons.
Debo had a down year, but still had 89 receptions.
Someone always steps up.
Almost 900 yards.
Someone always steps up.
They drafted Ricky Pearsall, They got Juwan Jennings. They got T.O.'s kid, who's looking good as like a back-of-the-end, wide receiver rotation. Tariq Owens. They got Ronnie Bell. They just signed Matt Breida again. I don't know if he'll be on the team. But
Ronnie Bell of Bell Biv DeVoe?
Yeah. Same guy.
It's Ricky Bell.
Let me ask you this, Rich, because you are our in-house Niners expert. Does the injury history of Debo worry you? Because let's compare just a little bit Aiyuk and Debo. Aiyuk's 26, and according to Draft Sharks, he has a 43% chance of injury this coming season. Debo's 28. He's got an 86.5% chance of injury. And in the past 5 seasons, guess how many games Debo has missed from injury?
Man, I would wager to say close to half.
17 games.
In how many years?
In 5.
Well, they died, so not as many as I thought. But yeah, he always seems a little banged up, where Ayuk's a little more sturdy, a little more reliable. But this is also a really interesting test.
By the way, can I make this point, Rich, too?
Yeah.
Before you tell us about the test. I don't mind this guy trying to get what he can.
Of course.
That's just the way the game is played nowadays. Unfollowing the team, like we said, that's the blueprint. So I'm not mad at him trying to get everything he can out of the team. But do they need him? I don't think so.
It's, when you have when you have a plethora. I said plethora.
You don't even know what a plethora is.
When the 49ers have a plethora of weapons, I'm not saying you don't need Aiyuk like, who cares? He's yesterday's garbage. He's still a great wide receiver, but I don't think the 49ers go from Super Bowl contender to middle of the pack if you don't keep Brandon Aiyuk. I really don't. I think like you said, Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey, Juwan Jennings, Pearsall, the rookie. People will make an impact in a different way. I think this is a true test for someone in particular.
Jennings, yeah. This is a chance for Jennings to step up.
Not only Juwan Jennings, but this is the ultimate. This is almost written for the 49ers as a test. Oh, and Juszczyk, he may catch a couple more balls out of the backfield. Might be one of the best blocking players in the league. But, yeah, throw Juszczyk in there. And his wife's sweet jackets. This is a great test for Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy wants to get paid next year like he's a top-tier quarterback in the National Football League, I think having Debo, McCaffrey, and Kittle and other cast
and
members
rookie.
And Pearsall,
Yep.
Shouldn't that be enough for Brock Purdy to show that he's still got the juice?
I was also going to say, it's going to give him an opportunity to show that he can make a star really out of anybody, and that's what great leaders do and great quarterbacks do. We've seen guys like Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes turn superstars into people you didn't even know, and they would leave and move on. He'd make superstars out of other people.
But Rich, we saw Purdy struggle without Debo, remember?
But that's where Purdy could really show, hey, man, is it Jennings? Yeah, I'll make him the man then.
Listen, Jennings would have been the MVP of the Super Bowl had the 49ers won. He had a great game. I think that this season's 49ers team, Aiyuk isn't even the story. The story is Purdy going to continue to develop? Because last year, you could argue, he may never match those numbers again. Purdy had an MVP numbers type of year, and really just missed out because it's Brock Purdy and people still don't really believe. But if Purdy puts up those type of numbers with those type of weapons, that'll be the proof that, Purdy's legit. If he loses his, quote, wide receiver 1, then he's earned it.
Anyone, based on your inside information as the 49ers guy, is there anyone that's sort of salivating at the opportunity, willing to pay Aiyuk what he's worth?
I mean,
what he thinks he's worth?
I know the Patriots deal fell through, but like a guy like the 49ers, if that deal would have went through, wouldn't they have got Kendrick Bourne on the flip of that back? So you're going to get something for him, whether it's just the money off the plate, whether it's draft inventory or something. You're going to get something for Aiyuk. I just think that the 49ers are going to be just fine with Adam.
But if you were Aiyuk, you want the money that you feel you're valued at, but you also want to play for a team that's contending or that's not losing every week. You know what I mean? Like, he's also in a really good situation. Like, you have to compromise a little bit.
I do
hey,
think,
dude, yeah, you might get that money, but you're going to play for a weaker team.
I do think
you
that
lose
is
every week? You want your stats to... You want to be on your ass every Sunday?
I do think that
or do you want to play for a solid team at a reasonable rate?
I do think that's an interesting factor because how much money would make a difference for him? Like
and the chance to win.
Look at Devontae Adams. No offense to your Raiders, Danny. He seemed very unhappy there especially when Derek Carr split, not on his own choice. Devontae Adams seems like he missed the days of catching passes from Aaron Rodgers and the glory days.
Yeah, he wasn't good at hiding it.
He's frustrated with the quarterback situation for sure.
Yeah, so
but he was playing for Antonio Pierce.
But what I'm saying is, if you're Brandon Aiyuk and you're on a team that's let's be honest here, guaranteed 10, 11 wins, 49ers are a playoff team.
You're guaranteed to be in the mix. You're guaranteed to be getting the ball.
You're a postseason player.
Yeah, you're a postseason player. You got to factor all that in.
You go to New England?
Great. You got your money. You're playing in New England now, and now you're going to be complaining about the quarterback.
Well, the rumors are that's why New England, quote unquote, pulled out of conversations with contract because supposedly Aiyuk doesn't want to go to New England.
Now, Pittsburgh, that's one of the teams they're talking about. You know, that's also a borderline playoff team. So we shall see. Did the 49ers fumble this is the question. Your thoughts at 877-99 on Fox. I just want to list some wide receivers to just see if we're on the same page, because I'm going to list people that I think are better than Brandon Aiyuk.
Okay.
And you tell me if you agree, because I think while Aiyuk is solid and he made an impact, again, had 1,300 yards last year. This guy's no slouch. But if I said, Covino, who do you rather have, Tyreek Hill or Brandon Aiyuk?
Tyreek Hill. Not only do I think that, the entire NFL seems to think that.
Yo, Danny, Tyreek or Aiyuk?
You don't even have to ask.
CeeDee Lamb or Aiyuk?
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, playmaker, man.
Amon-Ra St. Brown or Aiyuk?
After receiver,
Brown.
Yeah, Brown.
Justin Jefferson or Brandon Aiyuk?
Jefferson.
Yeah, man.
A.J. Brown or Brandon Aiyuk?
Aiyuk.
Ooh, okay.
Well, I know where you're going.
I think that's where the line.
Okay, and then all right,
crossing.
Stephon Diggs.
Aiyuk is ascending.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
So I think we in agreement. We might disagree on a couple, Danny, but it's safe to say Ayuk's a top 10-ish, but not a top 5. So if the Niners are offering him in the 20 range, was he not willing to take that type of deal?
Or seeing if someone else, I mean, it's negotiation, right? Negotiating. So
yeah, maybe he's no Samuel L. Jackson, the negotiator.